What I do day to day is mix live shows for millions of people across the world. It's something beyond anything I ever dreamed of. Hi, I'm Anthony Ramirez. I am an audio designer for CNN. I'm a MediaTech graduate of 2010. So I'm originally from Amarillo, Texas. I grew up in a fairly musical family. My grandpa was a record label artist in the 60s and 70s for Tejano music. And so at about 6th grade, when I got into be able to be in band, right, he pushed me heavily into a brass or something useful for his band at that time. So I started playing saxophone. And shortly after I learned the basics, he was putting me into his band. So I actually started playing on stage for little bars or weddings and quinceañeras, stuff like that, at about 11 years old. That was like how I connected with my grandfather. And so it was very important to me at that time, to be able to play and just spend time with him. So by the time I was in high school, ready to graduate, I was like full on focused, like I'm gonna be a band director, like I'm going into music education. I got through that process about a year in and just really didn't enjoy it. I had kind of picked up along the way, playing with friends in like garage bands. So we started trying to learn to record ourselves. And so when I started doing some research while I was in my first year of college, I found, the Dallas Sound Lab, and it's like, this seems like a pretty cool thing. So that's what kind of navigated me into that. I didn't really know what I was getting into, really. I knew I wanted to learn about music production. I wanted to record music and produce music. So walking in and seeing that level of studio, especially they told me, when it was a full functioning studio, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Pantera, some of those guys went and recorded. I was like, this is amazing. You're not gonna get that experience anywhere else. So I graduated in June of 2010. That's where it gets interesting. So right before I graduated, for some reason we had gotten leads on a local religious TV group in the Dallas area that was looking for interns. So I called the number up and the guy was like, yeah, just come on down at this time. We'll show you what we're doing. And it was basically, all right, here's a camera. This is pan, tilt, zoom. All right, we go on in 15 minutes. And so I did that for maybe 2 or 3 months. And there was just a point where we had so many people interning that we didn't need people to do camera. I didn't need to do a camera. And then I got to go into the booth and actually start mixing some of the broadcast stuff. And that was the first time I'd had any kind of interaction with audio for television. So when it came time to graduate, I had to go home to Amarillo. So I just hit up every radio and TV station in town. And one of them, a local NBC station, KAMR, had been looking to fill an overnight master control position for months. And was like, well, if you'll take this position because you have a little bit of TV experience, we'll give it to you right now. And that is kind of how I backdoored into broadcast. I started in master control as an overnight operator, where basically my duties were to maintain the playlists that were on air overnight and then capture any incoming records that we had to air later, or paid programming, stuff like that. That was actually one of the best experiences I've ever had in television. By the time I left, I was directing 3 or 4 shows a day. So during all of that time, all of the local stations that I worked at, I was still trying to record music. I was still trying to get involved with as much post-production, anything I can get into. And I kind of decided, I woke up one day and was like, you know what, you're probably a broadcaster. It's like, you've been doing this going on 8 years now. You should probably focus up and see, where this can actually go. And so I decided to look into making the jump up to a network. And I found a position open with CNN, sent in an application, and it worked out, I guess. Here we are. The major difference, obviously, between local stations and network is the amount of people that are potentially watching you. You go from hundreds of thousands, maybe, in a bigger market to potentially millions upon millions of people. I've got to be, a part of some town halls that we've done out of our studios for some presidential candidates. I've got to do some things for Bleacher Report and for CNN during the Super Bowl last year. It's things that not everybody can say that they've been a part of. But it's exciting. There's nothing like live TV because it comes, it hits you, you have to be in the process, you're mixing your show, and then it's gone. it's something beyond, anything I ever dreamed of. I went to school for music production, and that path led me down this crazy rabbit hole that has just been unbelievable. I get to do audio every day, and I get paid to do it. And it's awesome.
Welcome to CNN's Democratic Presidential Town Hall with Senator Michael Bennett. I'm Dana Bash. Bennett is a Democratic senator from Colorado vying for a chance to take on President Trump. Before going to Washington, he served as superintendent